Vibe coding is expensive. In this video, I'm going to be sharing some best practices that you can follow to reduce your spending on vibe coding. So these vibe coding tools are magical and it's amazing to use them to build apps, but it can get very costly if you don't do it the right way. So in this video, I'm going to share how you can be an efficient vibe coder and the best practices that you can use to make sure that you don't waste any money when you're vibe coding. So the first tip I have is model switching. So when you're working on a very basic task when vibe coding, you don't necessarily need to use the most expensive models. And I've seen a lot of vibe coders do this. So a lot of vibe coding tools give you the option to switch between models for different tasks. For example, in Cursor, if you set up a new agent, you can use two different models working on two different tasks. Now, if you have a very easy and simple task like changing the color of a button, you can give that to a cheaper model and a more basic model. And if you have a more complex task, like managing a database, you can give that to a more expensive and more advanced model. But a lot of vibe coders will use the more advanced model on the simpler task, and that ends up charging them more. So in the long term and in the long run, that ends up charging you a lot of money, hundreds of dollars over the course of a few months and hundreds of prompts. So you want to try to minimize that by using cheaper models as and when possible. So if you have a simple task, use a cheaper model because it can get it done and you'll have the same output, the same quality, and you'll save money. So this compounds over multiple prompts and multiple iterations, and it ends up saving you a lot of money. The next tip is to be very mindful of input and output tokens and understand how that works. So LLMs charge you for input and output tokens, and it's very easy to control the input tokens. So whenever you write a prompt to the AI or you attach something like a PRD, a product requirements document, you're being charged for that. You're being charged based on the length of that because it's made up of tokens at the end of the day and you're billed for that. So while it might be very minimal per prompt, when you add a lot of prompts over the course of your entire vibe coding process, it ends up charging you pretty significant amounts of money. So you want to try and keep your input tokens as minimum as possible. And the way you can do that is by keeping your text prompts and your documents only to the point and only adding what's relevant. So a lot of vibe coders will attach 50-page documents out of which only, let's say, 20 pages are relevant. So try and minimize that. Try and remove what's not necessary because you're being charged for that. And as you go, you'll realize that this charge compounds. So you want to keep that as minimum as possible. You want to keep your input tokens very, very low. And the same goes for output tokens, but it's a little bit harder to control the output tokens. Obviously, you don't want to limit the AI when it's writing code. You can obviously tell the AI to stop giving you explanations if that's something that you don't really like. A lot of technical developers don't need the explanations that AI gives after each and every single iteration. You can try asking the AI if it can stop doing that. Even though it's a very small amount, it will save tokens and eventually end up saving you a little bit of money. So input and output tokens, once you understand how that works, you can be more mindful of the prompts that you give the AI, the way you give those prompts, including documents, images, and all sorts of things like that. And also the output that the AI is giving, you can try and instruct the AI in such a way that it doesn't end up costing you so much money. Something that I'm sure every vibe coder has faced is when the AI runs into an unsuccessful pattern and loop. And this is a place where a lot of vibe coders burn a lot of money. So one very key piece of advice that I have here is take a step back when this happens. This usually happens because of a false assumption in the AI's context, and it's not going to fix it on its own anytime soon. So you want to take a step back and tell the AI to think for a new approach. Think for a new solution to this problem. So you want to tell the AI, well, you've been trying this and it's not working. Think for a new approach. Think of a new way to solve this problem. Think from first principles and figure out what we can do. You might want to describe the issue that you're facing again to give it better context, but break the unsuccessful pattern because otherwise you're going to keep spending money and usually it's stuck somewhere and it's not going to fix it itself. So sometimes it needs that little nudge. It needs you to point it in a right direction. So it's very good if you can break that unsuccessful loop when you identify it. When you're able to identify that the AI is stuck on something and it's not able to fix an issue. For example, when the AI is debugging or you've asked the AI to implement a feature and it's unable to do so, you don't want to keep telling it the same thing again and again, like please fix it or just keep telling it the error. Sometimes you have to nudge it, tell it to think for a new solution, and that's what you want to do. So break unsuccessful patterns because those can burn a lot of money. And a lot of vibe coders spend most of their money on those unsuccessful patterns. So make sure to do that. Another very, very important tip is to always check the viability of a feature before you implement it. Always check how feasible a feature is before you add it to your app. And there's a very important reason for this. So if you add a feature to your app or you add something to your app when you're vibe coding and you realize that it's not working or it couldn't work or there was a bug or for some reason you need to remove it, well, first of all, you already wasted a lot of tokens and a lot of money on building that feature out. And then you're going to have to do the same to reverse that if you don't have version control. And that can get very messy. So always ask the AI if a feature or something new you're adding in your app is even possible, feasible, or viable. And a lot of vibe coding tools, in fact, most vibe coding tools, have something like a plan mode or an ask mode, which is separate from the building mode. So in the plan mode and ask mode, ask the AI if this feature is feasible and how the AI is going to implement it. And make sure to question the AI, what if this happens, what if this happens? And so doing this gives the AI a structure on how it's going to implement the feature. So not only does it prevent you from having to go back, it also gives the AI the right way to implement the feature, and the AI is less likely to run into bugs because it has a structured plan on what it needs to do. So always make sure that before implementing something, you plan it out with the AI. This helps you realize if it's even possible and how the AI is going to do it, and it also helps the AI do it in a much more efficient manner. One tip that I think most vibe coders don't realize is that you can reuse a lot of context when you're vibe coding and save a lot of money. So instead of writing a very long prompt and giving your prompts a lot of length for each and every single feature, try and draw upon previously existing features in your application. So in a very, very simple example, let's say I have a red button on one part of my app and now I want to add a blue button on a different part of my app. Instead of telling the AI to build out that blue button without any reference to the red button, give the AI the reference. Tell the AI to draw inspiration from the previously existing red button. And what that does is, it allows the AI to use the pre-existing code and then just make a slight modification in that. Think about it. If you're telling the AI to build a blue button from scratch, it's going to write a couple of lines of code and build out that blue button. But if you're saying, we already have a red button in the app, please add the same implementation over here, just change the color to blue, then the AI is going to know what to do. It won't have to think from scratch, it won't have to build from scratch. So essentially, you're reusing context. And this sounds very simple, but at scale, when you're building out some complex features, then it really helps because the AI doesn't have to write hundreds of lines of code and reason and think about what it's going to do when it already has things that it can draw upon that already exist in your app. So try and reuse context. Otherwise, you're going to end up giving context to the AI again and again. So this saves you money in two different ways. Earlier, I explained input and output tokens, and this saves you money in both those cases. So for input, you don't have to explain everything again. You can tell the AI to draw inspiration, and then these are the modifications that I want. And so the AI already has built most of the core functionality, and it's just going to modify some things that you want it to modify. And the second thing is output tokens. The AI doesn't have to write all of the code from scratch. It already has a lot of code that it can draw upon. So you're saving on both input and output tokens by reusing context while you're vibe coding. And this is something that you can do in almost everything that you're vibe coding, whether that's navigation elements or different pages. Most things follow the same structure, and you can tell the AI to use the same structure and then just make slight modifications. And so that saves you a lot of money because the AI doesn't have to build everything from scratch. Thank you for watching this video. I hope that these tips and best practices will help you on your vibe coding journey. If you like the video, please do subscribe. It helps me out a lot, and I really, really appreciate it. Thank you, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.